Have you thought about staying in Indonesia long term? Indonesia has a way of capturing hearts. The warmth of its people often entices many Americans to want more than just a quick visit. But before you hop on a plane, there's one very important thing to keep in mind. Visas matter, and the rules keep changing. The visa landscape in Indonesia has always been a little tricky, and in recent years, it has shifted in ways that make it even more confusing. If you're a tourist, an aspiring expat, or a retiree dreaming of living out your golden years in a tropical paradise, the key to turning your dream into reality starts with understanding the visa possibilities and keeping up with how they change. So while you may have read an article or blog post that said one thing last year, this year, or even this month, the rules might be very different. So don't think of Indonesian visas as a one-time research project, but as a fluid, ongoing topic. In other words, stay up to date. I can't give you all the exact requirements. They change too often, and this video would be out of date quickly. Instead, this video will help you understand the bigger picture so you can approach your travel or your move to Indonesia with eyes wide open. First, why do Americans love Indonesia and other countries in Southeast Asia? Well, if you're from the US, visiting this area might feel like entering another world. I mean that in the very best possible way. The lifestyle is slower and the cost of living is lower. That's why so many Americans find themselves coming back year after year, looking for ways to just stay longer. But the visa system can seem like a moving target. You might hear one thing from a friend who visited last year, only to discover that the rules have changed by the time you're planning your own trip. That's not because Indonesia is trying to make it difficult. It's because the country frequently adjusts its policies to respond to international trends. Where should you look for the most up-to-date information? Well, I've looked at a lot of websites with information about Indonesian visas, and I've found Let's Move Indonesia has the clearest explanations. You can find a link to their site in the description below this video. Please note, they are not paying me or sponsoring this video, but I've gotten great recommendations about their service. Hi, I'm Kate. I'm an American expat, and when I wanted to live an adventurous but inexpensive life overseas, I took the plunge and now make videos about both the challenges and the joys of living as an expat in Indonesia. Welcome to my YouTube channel, KateGypsy. So let's look at tourist visas first. If you're planning a vacation in Indonesia, it's pretty easy for most Americans to get in with a visa, depending on how long you plan to stay and what activities you want to do. There are a few tourist visa options. Some are available on arrival at the airport, while others need to be arranged in advance. The rules about how long you can stay and whether or not you can extend your stay can be different. So the bottom line is, if you're visiting Indonesia as a tourist, do your research close to your travel date. Rules about entry, visa extensions, and even required documents may have changed since you last checked. Next, are you a remote worker, entrepreneur, or digital nomad who would like to set up your base in Indonesia? More and more Americans are looking at Indonesia not just as a travel destination, but as a base for remote work or a lifestyle change. Modern co-working spaces and lively expat communities can be found in many cities across the country. And now, Indonesia has officially introduced a remote work visa, also referred to as the digital nomad visa, designed specifically for foreigners who earn their income from abroad while living in Indonesia. According to the current description of this visa, it allows eligible individuals to stay in the country for up to 1 year with the possibility of renewal, all without paying Indonesian income tax, provided their income comes from outside Indonesia. This is a major step forward for American remote workers and freelancers who want to enjoy life in Bali, Jakarta, Yogyakarta, or wherever while continuing their online work. Unlike tourist visas, this one is tailored for those who want to live in Indonesia while working remotely and getting their salary from outside the country. It's a promising option for Americans who are ready to swap the home office for a rice field view while staying on the right side of immigration law. This relatively new visa reflects Indonesia's commitment to adapting to the evolving landscape of work and tourism, aiming to boost the local economy by attracting professionals who wish to experience the country while maintaining their employment abroad. And then, how about retiring in Indonesia, like me? It can be a low cost dream for some retirees. Yes, Indonesia has serious appeal. The lower cost of living, access to nature, availability of household help, and the strong sense of community all make it an attractive option for retirement. Places like Bali, Yogyakarta, and Lombok have long been popular with retirees from the US. For American retirees dreaming of settling down in Indonesia long term, the retirement visa is available to foreigners age 60 and above who do not intend to work in Indonesia and can meet certain financial and accommodation requirements. It allows retirees to live in Indonesia legally for 12 months at a time, with the option to renew annually. After a few consecutive renewals, retirees may convert the 1 year visa into a 5 year permanent residency retirement visa. One tip: don't try to go it alone. There are agencies like Let's Move Indonesia who specialize in helping Americans apply for the retiree visa and renew it each year. Given how much the rules can shift, it's worth getting help from someone who deals with the system every single day. Things change fast. Stay alert. If there's one thing you should take away from all of this, it's this. And I'll repeat. This is a repetition. Don't assume that yesterday's visa rules apply today. Sometimes visa changes are announced with little warning. Make sure that you're operating on the most recent visa rules. I've done it for 42 years now with the help of an agent who specializes in visas. I'm happy to report that my next visa renewal later this year will be valid for the rest of my life. Do these changes sound overwhelming or intimidating? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. But here's the truth. Indonesia is still one of the most welcoming, beautiful, and rewarding places for Americans to visit or live. The richness of life here, the culture, the food, the landscape, the friendships you'll build, more than make up for the extra effort it takes to navigate the visa system. And keep in mind that the visa situation in other Southeast Asian countries have similar changing retirements. So despite the complexities, Indonesia wants foreigners to visit, contribute, and stay. The fact that the visa system keeps evolving shows that the country is actively working to respond to new kinds of visitors like remote workers, long-term travelers, and yes, retirees like me, from places like the US or Europe. If you're willing to do a little homework, you can find a visa path that fits your situation. Whether you're coming for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 decades, or longer. Let me leave you with a few thoughts if you're seriously considering Indonesia as your next chapter. First, I'm going to repeat it again. Don't rely on outdated information. Visa rules here change. What worked for your friend last year might not work for you this year. And trust me, this isn't something you'll figure out in one quick Google session. Instead, think of the visa process as part of the adventure. Yeah, it can be a little tricky, but it's also your doorway to a great adventure abroad. Indonesia is not a static place. It's a country in transition, socially, economically, and politically. Over the last couple of decades, it's gone through major transformations, including a rapidly growing middle class, increased global connectivity, a boom in tourism, and a growing awareness of its own place in the international community. If you stay curious, flexible, and connect with others who've walked the path before you, you'll find your own way forward. And when you do, you'll be glad you took the time to get it right. Because life in Indonesia, once you settle in, is something truly special. I can vouch for that. Please leave a comment if you're thinking about coming to Indonesia. I'd like to hear about your plans. And thanks for watching. Bye for now. Till next time.